Ever watched someone switch languages just effortlessly and thought, wow, how do they even do that?
Happens all the time.
Well, get ready, because in this deep dive, we're obviously going behind the scenes of one of those journeys. We're unpacking the really inspiring story of Emma. She didn't just get fluent in English. She ended up building this amazing global community, too.
And what's so great, I think, is that we have the whole story, from the early struggles right through to her later achievements.
Exactly. It lets us really dig into those key moments, the principles behind her success.
Principles that honestly could help anyone who's learning something new or facing a big goal.
Absolutely. So think of this as us kind of distilling the essence of, learning a language successfully and also the power of connecting with people. All through Emma's experience, which is super relatable.
Mm-hmm.
Our mission today, basically pull out those key insights, those aha moments from her story that might resonate with you, whether you're learning Italian or, learning to code.
Right. Something useful you can take away.
Yeah. And for you listening, maybe you like getting knowledge quickly, but also thoroughly. We're going to guide you through the important bits of Emma's journey, the real takeaways, without getting bogged down.
Okay, so where does it all kick off? Like a lot of these stories, it starts small, doesn't it? With a spark.
That's it. Emma's initial spark, her first real desire to get fluent in English, came after watching some inspiring video online.
Just seeing someone else connect using English.
Yeah. Simple as that. But it planted this seed, this idea of possibility. What's really interesting, though, is that this wasn't her first try at learning English.
Right. That's important.
It really highlights that the way you learn, the approach, can be just as crucial as wanting to learn in the first place.
Definitely. Emma had done the usual things before, right? Textbooks, grammar exercises, vocab lists.
The traditional stuff.
Exactly. And look, that stuff can give you a base, but often there's this huge gap between knowing about the language and actually, using it, speaking it.
Oh, yeah. That feeling of knowing the rules but freezing up when someone asks you a question.
Yeah, that lack of confidence. Emma felt that. She felt stuck, which I think a lot of learners can probably identify with.
Totally. Stuck in the grammar weeds. So Emma realized that wasn't working for her, and she made a big decision. What can we learn from that shift she made?
Well, the key thing was moving away from just focusing on rules. She decided to prioritize immersion. Getting experience.
Instead of just studying about English, she started trying to live with it more.
Exactly. Actively engaging with it in her daily life. That shift from passive study to active engagement, that's something we see again and again in successful learners.
And her first steps into immersion were pretty simple, actually.
Yeah, surprisingly simple but effective. Like changing her phone language to English.
She was small, right.
It does. But think about it. You're constantly seeing English in context. Practical stuff.
Okay, yeah. And she started reading a storybook.
A beginner's one, yeah. Now, it wasn't easy at first. She didn't understand everything straight away.
Of course not.
But her strategies for dealing with that confusion are really insightful. She'd use the pictures to guess meanings.
Makes sense.
Wrote down new words she didn't know. And importantly, she read aloud.
Engaging multiple senses, seeing, writing, hearing.
Exactly. That helps cement things. It wasn't about perfection from day one. It was about diving in despite the gaps.
And then came that moment, her first real English conversation.
Oh, the tourist in the park.
Right. Picture it. She's trying to read her book, feeling a bit unsure, and suddenly someone needs directions. Talk about being put on the spot.
Definitely high pressure.
Yeah.
And she was nervous, understandably.
But she managed it. What did she say? Something simple.
Yeah, really basic.
Yeah.
Yes. Go straight, then left at the big tree. Something like that.
Simple words, but the
Yeah.
impact?
Huge. It's
Mm.
concrete proof. She could actually use the English she was learning to help someone, even in that tiny way.
That immediate feedback, that little win.
It's incredibly motivating. It changed things.
It was like a catalyst, wasn't it? Suddenly, English wasn't just this abstract thing in a book. It was a tool.
A real tool for connection. And you see her engagement just like skyrocket after that.
That little spark of confidence just fueled a much bigger fire.
Exactly. She started actively looking for ways to use English, watching cartoons.
Good for simpler language, visuals.
Right? Talking to herself in English as she went about her day.
Oh, self-talk. That's a great low-pressure practice.
It really is.
Yeah.
Just narrating things. And she even named her plants in English Daisy, Sunny, Mr. Green.
Huh. That's brilliant, making it personal and playful.
Yeah, these small, consistent things really add up.
I love that she approached it like a game, keeping a notebook of funny phrases, rewarding herself for small wins.
It just takes the pressure off, doesn't it? Makes it enjoyable.
How can we, apply that idea, gamifying learning?
Well, that notebook of funny phrases, humor makes things stick, right? Plus, you get a feel for idioms, culture, and rewarding yourself. That's just basic positive reinforcement. Creates a good feedback loop, keeps you motivated, makes it feel less like homework, more like, well, fun.
And then she took another big step, joining that free online group for English learners.
Yeah, that was significant, especially because she was hesitant at first, right? Worried about speaking.
Understandably, fear of judgment is huge for language learners.
But the group she found was supportive, non-judgmental. And that highlights something crucial: the power of community.
Having a safe space to practice.
To make mistakes without feeling stupid.
Get encouragement.
Learn from others on the same path. That shared journey is incredibly validating.
You're not alone anymore. And you mentioned her journal entries reflecting this.
Yeah, she started journaling about her progress, her feelings, her pride. That reflection itself is powerful.
Tracking your own growth. Seeing how far you've come.
Exactly. And it helped her articulate her thoughts, solidifying things. Plus, it documented that growing sense of connection to the world through English.
So chapter 1 really shows that shift. From frustration to immersion, small wins, finding community, setting the stage.
Absolutely. Nurturing that initial spark. Which leads us into chapter 2, where she starts actively confronting her fears.
Right, that first online speaking challenge.
The 2-minute speech about baking cookies.
Seems simple, but for her it was a massive step. She prepared. But that pre-speech nervousness, I think we can all relate to that feeling.
Oh, yeah. That internal battle. What if I mess up? What if they laugh? It's almost universal for language learners. That vulnerability.
Exposing your, work in progress skills.
It's a huge hurdle.
And this is where she remembers that quote, mistakes mean you're trying, mistakes mean you're growing.
Such a powerful reframe.
How can we adopt that? Seeing errors not as failures, but as feedback.
Exactly. As essential steps.
Mm-hmm.
It's about valuing the effort, the learning that comes from trying, not just the perfect outcome. That mindset is vital for getting over the fear of speaking.
So she takes a deep breath, clicks a button.
And does the speech, talks about her cookies, even the burnt ones.
Huh. And the group's reaction.
Really positive. They laughed with her about the baking mishaps.
Mm-hmm.
It created this sense of connection.
Sharing something personal, relatable, it makes it genuine.
And that positive feedback was huge for her confidence. Made her want to speak more.
And it didn't just boost her. There was that message from Lila in Brazil.
Right. You inspired me, Emma. I was afraid to speak, but now I will try too. That's the ripple effect, isn't it?
One person's courage empowering another. Amazing.
And it led to Emma's new motto, let's make mistakes together and learn.
I love that. Shifting from individual perfection to collective growth.
Exactly. Makes it okay to take risks.
After this, she started her talking walks. Can you explain that a bit more? Why is it helpful?
Basically, she just walk around and describe what she saw out loud in English.
To herself.
Yeah. It forces you to think in English in real time, recall words, build sentences on the fly, but with zero pressure. No audience.
Making English your internal monologue.
Pretty much.
Hmm.
And then she also started shadowing.
Okay, what's shadowing?
It's where you listen to someone speaking English, maybe in a video or audio clip, and you repeat what they say as they say it, trying to mimic their exact pronunciation, rhythm, intonation.
Like being their shadow?
Exactly. It's fantastic for improving pronunciation and getting a feel for the natural flow of the language. Physically training your mouth, almost.
Interesting. Okay, so all this practice builds up to her school project, an English presentation about Malala Yousafzai.
Yeah, a more formal setting.
Uh-huh.
A bigger challenge.
Must have been daunting.
For sure. But those positive experiences in the online group had built a foundation. She'd already spoken, gotten good feedback. It lessened the fear factor a bit.
And she nailed the presentation.
She did. Got good feedback from her teacher, classmates. Another success marker.
And each of these wins, big or small, builds on the last, right? Creates momentum.
Absolutely. It's a positive feedback loop. Validation reinforces belief, motivates you to keep pushing. Her journal entry about feeling proud really captures that growing self-belief.
So chapter 2 is all about stepping up, facing fear, embracing mistakes, and the power of practice, online and off.
Yeah, moving from hesitant learner to someone actively seeking chances to use English, seeing challenges as growth opportunities.
Which brings us to chapter 3. English Everywhere, Turning Life into a Language Lab. That title says it all.
It really does. You see this big shift where English isn't just for study time anymore. It's bleeding into her everyday life.
At home, at school, constant exposure.
Even passive exposure helps. Keeps the language active in your mind, reinforces patterns, creates that immersive environment wherever you are.
Her Live in English Week challenge sounds pretty intense, though, thinking every thought in English.
Intense, yeah, but really effective. It forces that mental switch. Instead of translating from her native language, she starts training her brain to process directly in English.
Which is key for fluency, right?
Absolutely. Thinking like a native speaker starts with, well, thinking in the language.
And her activities that week reading supermarket labels, silently translating overheard conversations, talking to her plants again.
Maybe seemed quirky, but really beneficial. Reading labels gives you practical vocab. Silently translating keeps your brain working, talking to objects, low-stakes sentence practice.
Making it relevant, personal, and her family just found it amusing.
Apparently so. Adds a nice human touch.
Then there were the sticky notes all over her room, turning it into an English museum.
Another great visual learning technique. Constantly seeing words linked to objects reinforces vocabulary, builds that visual-verbal connection almost subconsciously.
And the talking walks continued, leading to her helping another lost tourist couple, but with more complex directions this time.
Yeah, another real-world win. Seeing her skills actually help people again, but at a slightly higher level, that's incredibly rewarding.
Validates all the effort.
Big time. Fuels motivation like nothing else.
She also started focusing on intonation, watching videos without subtitles and practicing tones.
Yeah, that shows a deeper level of engagement. It's not just words anymore, it's the music of the language. How tone changes meaning.
Which is crucial for sounding natural and being understood clearly.
Definitely. Practicing different tones helps develop a more expressive, clearer speaking style.
And the video diary she started, tracking her speaking progress.
Smart move. It allows for objective self-assessment. You can literally see and hear your improvement over time.
Which must be incredibly motivating.
Hugely. Plus, you spot areas to work on, become more aware of your speaking habits.
So all this consistent effort, this immersion, leads to her teacher noticing and inviting her to the school's English storytelling contest.
Right. A natural next step, really. Validation from her teacher, and a chance to showcase how far she'd come. Chapter 3 is all about making English part of the furniture of your life.
Leading us to Chapter 4, the storytelling stage, Emma's big English moment. You can feel the buzz in that school auditorium description.
Yeah, that nervous energy before performance.
Ah.
Emma's clutching her notes. You can feel the weight of the moment for her.
And her decision to tell her own story for the theme, a lesson I learned, that feels really brave.
It is brave and smart. Sharing something personal makes it authentic. She's speaking from the heart about something real to her. That resonates more than reciting facts.
And as she walks to the stage, the microphone calms her because it reminds her of the online group.
Yeah, that connection back to her safe space. The mic becomes this familiar anchor, grounding her despite the nerves.
So she tells her story, the fear, the decision to start anyway, the practice methods, her words becoming wings.
Her whole journey encapsulated, that narrative of overcoming obstacles, finding your voice. It's universally relatable.
And her core message. You don't need to speak like a native. You just need to speak like yourself. And when you speak with heart, people listen. Wow.
Such an important message for learners. It shifts the goal away from unattainable, native-like perfection.
Towards authentic communication.
Exactly. Speaking with heart, connecting genuinely. That often matters more than perfect grammar.
And the audience reaction, silence, then huge applause.
Yeah, the silence suggests they were really listening, reflecting. The applause shows genuine appreciation for her courage, her story, her message.
And this success sparks something new in her, the desire to help others, leading to her video blog, Day 1 Speak With Me.
This is a huge turning point. She goes from learner to, well, empowerer, wanting to share what worked for her, encourage others.
And people responded immediately. The blog took off, the Speak with Emma Club formed.
Her authenticity just clicked with people. Sharing her own struggles and wins made the journey feel possible for others, and the club created that vital sense of community.
Then she gets invited onto a podcast for learners.
Right, and she shares her secret, which isn't really a secret at all.
Consistent practice in everyday life.
Exactly. Reinforcing that it's an ongoing process integrated into life.
So Chapter 4 is really Emma finding her voice, her confidence, and immediately starting to use it to lift others up.
A real transformation. From personal success to wanting to share it, it marks her emergence as a leader, really.
Which sets up Chapter 5 nicely. New horizons. Emma's English adventure goes global. Her influence starts spreading.
You see it in the YouTube channel growth, the international audience commenting, connecting.
Shows that universal desire to learn English, to connect across borders.
Definitely. And those comments she received were fuel, showing the positive impact she was having.
Then comes the invitation from Global Learners Live. An international online program wants to interview her.
That's major recognition, right? Not just as a learner who did well, but as a respected voice in that global learning community.
A sign of the impact she's already making.
For sure. And before the interview, she makes that special video, My English Journey and Yours Too, sharing 5 tips.
Let's recap those quickly. Make English part of daily life.
Talk to yourself.
Learn useful phrases.
Prioritize connection over perfection.
And be kind to yourself.
All really practical, actionable things reflecting her own journey. Things anyone can try.
And during the interview itself, her answer to someone afraid to speak, that was powerful.
Your voice is waiting. You don't need to be perfect to be heard. You just need to be brave for 1 minute. Speak. And then speak again. Every sentence is a step.
That really sticks. Breaks it down into manageable steps. Inspiring, but practical.
Exactly. And she also talks about her future plans: travel, a global speaking club, writing a book called Speak Like You.
Shows her vision, her commitment, and that title again reinforces her core message.
Then she gets an invitation from a nonprofit in India to be a guest speaker for their English programs.
Wow. Showing her videos are making a real difference in completely different parts of the world.
Yeah, that story about Anaya using her videos, it really drives home the tangible impact.
Which leads her to create Emma's English Circle, a free weekly online meeting place.
Responding directly to her community's need for practice, for connection.
Making it accessible, supportive.
Right. With subtitles, co-hosts from the community. Really inclusive.
Chapter 5 really tracks that expansion from personal journey to global inspiration, building this thriving online community.
Yeah, she's fully transitioned into this influential figure,
Yeah.
using her experience to motivate and support learners everywhere.
Chapter 6. From learner to leader, Emma's English dream comes true. This feels like a culmination.
The milestones are incredible, aren't they? Within a year of starting her blog, 100,000 plus subscribers, members from over 25 countries in her circle.
And the big one invited to speak at the Voices Without Borders International Language event.
That must have felt surreal. Going from learner to keynote speaker at a major international conference.
Huge validation. Shows the power of her message and dedication.
Definitely. And her experience at the conference, the supportive vibe, people recognizing her, connecting with her offline.
It reinforces the strength of the community she built, seeing it in person.
Exactly. And her speech there continued her core message. English is for everyone who wants to speak, connect, grow. Perfection isn't the point.
Inclusivity, authenticity.
And it resonated. Standing ovation, invited onto a global language panel.
That marks a clear shift, right? She's now firmly established as a leader, shaping the conversation.
Absolutely. Moving beyond her own story to influencing the field on a global level.
And I love that she got a message from her very first online speaking group after her talk.
Brings it full circle, doesn't it? A reminder of where it started, the importance of that initial support.
Yeah. Chapter 6 is really powerful. Shows how far she came and the impact one person can have.
Truly transformative. From learner to leader, realizing her dream.
Okay, Chapter 7. The spark grows. Emma empowers a new generation. Her impact starts multiplying.
You see it clearly. Learners, inspired by her, start their own clubs, use her videos. She's sparked a movement.
And her next big idea, creating a free, accessible language learning app.
Addressing that crucial issue of equal access. Wanting everyone to have resources, regardless of money, shows her commitment to inclusivity.
And the features she planned for it: daily speaking prompts, pronunciation help, story lessons, chat groups, offline access, her encouraging voice.
Really thoughtful, covering all bases, understanding what learners need, including practical things like offline use.
But she didn't have the tech skills herself.
Right, so she put the call out online, and this global team of volunteers came together to build it.
Amazing. Shows the power of her mission, the strength of the community willing to help.
It really does. A shared purpose bringing people together.
And the SpeakSpark app launches, gets great feedback, features like whisper practice.
That's clever. Addresses that self-consciousness about speaking aloud.
And Emma's letters for that personal touch.
Keeping that connection going. It clearly worked.
Then she gets invited to more schools, summits, and meets students at a refugee school in Poland using her app.
Wow. That brings the impact right home, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Seeing it used by learners in such challenging circumstances, really powerful.
Chapter 7 shows her innovating, using tech, but always focused on empowering learners, especially those who need it most.
Definitely. Expanding her reach, empowering the next generation.
Chapter 8 takes us somewhere different. Camp of Dreams, where stories come alive. A global storytelling English camp in Finland.
Yeah, moving from digital to in-person. Focusing on storytelling, which is right in her wheelhouse. Connecting through narrative.
With kids from 12 different countries, talk about diverse.
Creates this incredibly rich environment. Learning English, but also learning about each other's cultures through stories.
And her approach story is the core. English is the bridge that sets such a positive tone.
Takes the pressure off perfect English.
Yeah.
Focuses on expression, connection. It's not academic, it's an adventure.
And those warm-up games to reduce the fear of mistakes. Genius for kids.
Creates that playful, safe atmosphere. Encourages experimenting without fear. Fosters camaraderie.
And the stories the kids created shows how that narrative focus unlocks creativity, self-expression.
Even for kids still developing their English. It taps into something personal, meaningful, motivating.
Like Aiko, the shy girl from Japan, telling her story about Momo on the moon.
A beautiful example how a supportive space and creative freedom can help even quiet learners find their voice.
And the final night, storytelling under the stars, with Emma sharing her own journey.
Magical. Builds community. Reinforces that everyone's story matters. Her own story inspires them. Shows the power of learning. Chapter 8 really highlights storytelling as a powerful tool for language learning, confidence, and connection, which leads naturally into Chapter 9. The Global Circle students become teachers. The camp connections last, and Emma dreams bigger.
The Fluent Circle, a learner-led English school. Motto: we speak, we share, we grow together.
Fantastic motto. Captures that collaborative spirit perfectly. It's about the shared journey.
And the structure online speaking rooms, the teach one, learn one idea.
Really innovative. Less formal practice spaces, and empowering everyone to be both teacher and learner. Flips the traditional model.
Creates ownership, shared responsibility, less hierarchy.
Exactly. And you see initiatives popping up organically within the Daily Story Circle, Accent Adventure, Fear-Free Zone.
Shows how engaged the members are, how they're shaping their own learning community, creating safe, fun spaces.
Definitely. Then Emma writes her book, Find Your English Voice, My Journey from Silence to Stories. Starts her podcast featuring members.
Extending her reach again, but also amplifying the voices within the community. She's facilitating connecting.
And the ripple effect continues. People start similar circles for other languages.
Shows her model is adaptable, the principles are universal. Community, peer support, authentic communication.
It really works. Chapter 9 showcases that power of a learner-led community, empowering each other.
Chapter 10 raises the stakes significantly. A voice at the United Nations.
An incredible invitation. Keynote speaker at the UN Global Language and Education Forum. Huge recognition.
And she felt the weight of it, right? Representing not just herself, but all those learners out there.
Yeah, understanding the responsibility of that platform. A chance to advocate for learners globally, share their perspectives with policymakers.
And her choice of story for the speech, Mira's story about the little bird with no song.
Brilliant choice. Simple, profound, universal. About finding your voice. Overcoming fear. It bypasses language barriers, connects emotionally.
And her delivery clearly had an impact. The emotional reaction from the delegates.
Underscores the power of storytelling, heartfelt delivery, connecting on a human level.
And it led to real opportunities afterwards, joining the Language and Peace Committee.
Yeah, showing the credibility she gained. positioned her as a key advocate for language education and understanding at the highest international level.
And then getting that video message from Mira herself afterwards?
Such a moving affirmation of her impact, bringing it back to the individual life changed. A beautiful full circle moment for that part of her journey. Chapter 10 really marks her arrival as a global leader, advocating for a more compassionate approach to language education worldwide.
Chapter 11 focuses on sustainability, passing the torch, training new leaders.
Smart move. To scale the impact, she needed to empower others to lead, ensure the Fluent Circle movement could grow beyond her direct involvement.
And the people who came to her first training camp were from all sorts of backgrounds.
Yeah, showing the wide appeal of her approach. The core principles resonate across cultures.
Those core principles she taught, creating safe spaces, listening kindly, embracing mistakes.
The absolute foundation of the Fluent Circle. Fostering that inclusive, encouraging environment where people feel safe to be vulnerable, to learn.
And you could see the trainees growing in confidence, sharing their own stories.
Demonstrating the effectiveness of her training, the power of her mentorship, showing the model is replicable.
And she encouraged them to use their own stories to inspire others.
Keeping it authentic, personal, grounding the movement in real experiences.
And the result, her trainees successfully launched new Fluent Circles.
Tangible proof, the training worked, the vision was spreading. Chapter 11 is all about building a sustainable movement by empowering new leaders.
But progress isn't always smooth. Chapter 12, the challenge that united us, resistance in one community.
An important reminder, promoting language learning can face hurdles. Overcoming skepticism needs empathy, engagement.
In Emma's response, proactive, called a global meeting of leaders.
Showcasing her leadership again. Collaborative problem solving, trusting the collective wisdom of the community.
And the solutions they came up with were creative, culturally sensitive community events, cultural festivals.
Smart. Tailoring the approach, making language learning relevant and welcoming for the whole community, not just the learners, addressing the local context.
And the Celebrate Voices event worked, changed perceptions.
Yeah, it demonstrated the joy and connection language learning brings, dispelled doubts, fostered a more positive attitude locally.
And led to that deeper realization the Fluent Circle wasn't just about English, it was about trust, empathy, intercultural understanding.
Exactly. Highlighting the broader social impact. Language as a bridge between people. Chapter 12 shows the resilience of the community, navigating challenges through collaboration and focusing on human connection.
Chapter 13 takes them back to the global stage, the International Summit, and a promise for the future.
Another invitation, this time for Emma and her leaders, shows the growing recognition of the whole Fluent Circle model.
And their presentation focused on personal stories again. Connection, hope.
Yeah, conveying the human heart of language learning, moving beyond theory to real impact on lives.
And they drafted that promise. Build communities of kindness, patience, courage, prioritize listening, celebrate small steps.
Beautifully sums up their core values,
Yeah.
guiding principles for creating supportive, growth-oriented environments.
And the reception at the summit was positive. Offers of support.
Very positive. Validation of their model, opening doors for wider adoption partnerships. Chapter 13 solidifies their position as innovators in community-driven language education.
Which makes Chapter 14 a logical next step. Launching the global Fluent Circle platform. Providing the digital infrastructure.
Crucial for scaling. A central, accessible online home for the global community. Enhancing connection, resource sharing.
And the response was immediate, positive.
Overwhelmingly so. Showed the demand, the strength of the existing community Emma had built. People were ready for it.
And the features, live chat rooms, story libraries, forums, challenges catered to diverse needs.
Yeah, thoughtfully designed. Opportunities for practice, shared learning, community support, interactive engagement.
Emma's first event on the platform, with people sharing stories, showed its potential.
Absolutely. Demonstrated its power to connect people across borders, create that shared virtual space for learning and encouragement.
Breaking down geographical barriers, fostering global community key achievements.
Democratizing access, reducing isolation, fostering intercultural exchange. A major leap forward using technology.
But technology isn't foolproof. Chapter 15, The Platform Crisis and the Power of Community. The platform went down.
The unexpected test. A reminder that the human element is key, even with tech.
But the community rallied. Supportive messages, offline meetups organized by leaders.
Amazing response. Showed the deep bonds, the commitment went way beyond the website. The network was the people, not just the platform.
Yeah. Leading to that realization, the real strength was the people, the connections.
Exactly. Reinforcing the core values. Human connection, shared purpose, mutual support were the foundation.
And when the platform came back online, the celebration highlighted that resilience, that appreciation for their connection.
Solidified the bonds, reaffirmed the importance of their shared journey, showed they could overcome challenges together. Chapter 15 proved the true strength was the community itself.
Chapter 16 brings a celebration. The Global Storytelling Festival, Voices Across the World. Back to Emma's passion.
Beautiful initiative. Embodies that commitment to empowering voices, celebrating diversity through storytelling in English.
And the story submissions were diverse, heartfelt.
Absolutely. Showcased the creativity, personal depth, and confidence nurtured within the Fluent Circle. A rich tapestry of experiences.
The live sessions and finale gave learners a global stage.
Yeah, a chance to share, connect, celebrate progress in a supportive space. Builds confidence, sense of accomplishment.
And the emphasis was always on expression and courage, not perfect English.
Consistently reinforcing that core philosophy. Prioritizing communication, connection, authenticity over flawless grammar. Chapter 16 was a vibrant display of creativity, courage, and the unifying power of stories.
Chapter 17 gets personal again. Emma's personal challenge, finding strength in vulnerability.
A reminder that leaders face challenges too, and sharing vulnerability can strengthen community bonds.
Her grandmother's illness impacting her own practice shows how life affects learning.
Exactly. Learning is tied to well-being. Stress and emotion impact our ability to engage.
But her decision to share this vulnerability with the community
Fostered deeper connection. Allowed the community to offer empathy, support, strengthen those bonds of care.
and the supportive response led her to see vulnerability as a strength.
A powerful lesson. Highlights the importance of empathy, compassion, mutual support, the strength found in authentic connection. Chapter 17 shows the power of vulnerability and reciprocal support in a strong community.
Chapter 18 brings us back to outreach, giving back Emma's charity event for English learners.
Showcasing her commitment to accessibility again, making quality learning available to those with fewer resources.
And the Speak and Share event, organized with community help, showed that collaborative spirit.
Definitely. Members, educators, volunteers, contributing time and skills, demonstrates shared commitment, collective action.
Providing free workshops, resources, making a tangible difference.
Absolutely. Embodying that ethos of inclusivity, support, empowerment for all learners.
Like Sophia, who felt inspired to start her own journey after attending.
A perfect example of the transformative impact. Providing access and encouragement can change lives. Chapter 18 underscores that commitment to social impact, making learning accessible through generosity and community action.
Chapter 19 looks ahead. Exploring new technologies, Emma's vision for the future.
Shows her innovative spirit, always looking to improve the learning experience.
Exploring speech recognition, VR, AI tutors,
Right.
leveraging new tools.
Right. Aiming to make learning even more personalized, interactive, engaging, effective, keeping up with what's possible.
And her vision is to integrate these into the platform.
Yeah, combining the human connection of the community with the power of advanced ed tech, creating a comprehensive, cutting-edge environment. Chapter 19 highlights her forward-thinking approach, embracing technology thoughtfully to enhance learning.
And finally, Chapter 20. Emma's reflection, a journey of heart and words, bringing it all together.
A chance for her to reflect on the whole journey, learning, teaching, community building, and the deep meaning she found in connecting through language.
Her big realization, learning English is fundamentally about connection, courage, sharing stories.
Exactly. Moving beyond the technical to the core human elements that defined her success and the movement's impact.
And her final message to the community, self-belief, speaking your truth, recognizing the potential English unlocks.
A powerful, enduring takeaway, encouraging learners to embrace their potential, communicate authentically, see the transformative opportunities. Chapter 20 provides that resonant conclusion, underscoring the growth and connection defining Emma's journey and the Fluent Circle legacy.
Emma's incredible story, as we've really unpacked here, it offers so much, doesn't it? That power of finding your why, your personal motivation.
Absolutely. And the necessity of, well, just accepting mistakes, seeing them as part of the process, not failures.
And community. Building that support network, it's huge.
Can't overstate it. Plus, the simple power of consistent effort. Those small daily practices really do add up.
And as Emma showed, fluency isn't some finish line you cross, right?
Not at all. It's a journey. Continuous growth, discovery, deepening connections. Every little step, every conversation attempt, it all counts.
And for you listening, wanting to learn effectively, Emma's way wasn't about speed reading textbooks. It was about engaging meaningfully.
Actively, personally.
So here's something to think about. How can you take these ideas, immersion, finding your community, truly embracing mistakes without fear, and apply them to your goals, whatever you're trying to learn?
Yeah, how can you turn your learning into less of a task and more of an adventure, like Emma did?
A great question to ponder.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Emma's really inspiring story and the Fluent Circle.
It's been fantastic exploring it with you. Until our next deep dive.